Hi and welcome to Camille's Country Corner. I am Camille, and on today's episode we will be making some kid-friendly options. The first one on the menu today is going to be pizza bombs. Kids love them. And on the second is going to be chicken tenders made in the air fryer. All of it's homemade, so let me show you what you're going to need. But first, hit that like button, and if you haven't subscribed, definitely hit the subscribe. All right, let me show you what you need for our first recipe. For our first recipe, we will need some pizza dough. I have some rising as we speak. Some mozzarella. You don't have to use the fresh mozzarella. You can use any kind of mozzarella. You can even use a string cheese. I have some pepperoni because we're doing pepperoni pizza bombs today, and I have made some sauce, but you can definitely take some help from the grocery store and use some jarred sauce. All right, let me show you how we put these together. All right, for the pizza bombs, let me show you how to put this together. Now, I went ahead and made my pizza dough. It's been rising for about an hour. I will link that below. I've made this dough before on my channel, so I will try to link the video as well, but I will definitely link the recipe below. Okay, I'm just using some fresh mozzarella. Hopefully it's not going to be too wet. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cube them. So just cubes. And I've got just regular pepperoni here, nothing special. Let me get a pair of scissors because they're not my kitchen shears, but they work. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and pull some of this pepperoni out just so it makes it easier for me. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just gonna grab a ball, a little over the size of a golf ball. I'm going to put a pepperoni in here. I'm going to put a piece of cheese in here. Literally just going to fold it over itself. That's all it is. I've got a piece of parchment here. I've got my pizza peel, but you can do this on a regular cookie sheet. If you don't have a baking stone, because I have a baking stone in mine, and if you don't have parchment paper, make sure that you oil your cookie sheet. All right, I'm gonna make another one. It looks like our oven is preheated. So I have preheated my oven at 450. And I'm gonna continue to make these pizza bombs. These are really a kid's favorite. All right, I'll bring you back when they're all made. Okay, my first batch is going in at 450 for 10 to 12 minutes, turning halfway through, and I'll show you what they look like when they come back out. All right, so the pizza bombs have come out of the oven. I actually ended up cooking these for about 20 to 25 minutes. I guess because I'm not using biscuit dough and I'm using real pizza dough, it took a lot longer than I remembered. I think the last time I made these, I used biscuit dough. So what I have in here is a couple of tablespoons of melted butter and about a teaspoon or a half a teaspoon of garlic powder. And I just threw in some parsley because my kids don't mind little green stuff in it. All you want to do is brush the tops of these. I know when my kids were younger, anything green, they were like, what is that? I'm not eating that. So if you have one of those picky eaters, leave the parsley out. Leave the garlic out. The butter will make it delicious though. Kids' palates are undeveloped when they're very young. For the chicken tenders, you will need some chicken. I have about 1.5 pounds of breasts here, but you can use thighs if that's what you prefer. I have some panko breadcrumbs along with some regular Italian style breadcrumbs, some Parmesan cheese, a couple of eggs, and I'm going to be making some honey mustard, so I have honey and mustard along with that. The only thing I'm not showing you here is the flour. You will need about 1/2 cup of flour. All right, let's get started with this recipe. I'm just going to cut my chicken tenders down because these are chicken breasts and they're full size and I want smaller ones. I've mentioned this before, but make sure you have different cutting boards for the different things that you do. Whether I have one for vegetables, this one's for meat, and then I have another one that's for my fruits, so my fruits don't taste like my vegetables. Nobody likes watermelon that tastes like onion or garlic. Okay, so I'm just cutting these into tenders, bite-sized pieces. Well, where you can pick them up and eat them. Not bite-size. My kids aren't that little any longer. But if you have little ones, I would cook these and then cut them down. But we're just going to cut these into about 1-inch strips. We don't need all of that extra stuff hanging off because ew. And if you have a bigger family, those are usually sold in 3, 5, and 10-pound packages, I believe. So buy what is needed for your family. All right, let me wash up and I'll show you the breading station. All right, to my first breading station, I am adding some flour. I got about 1/2 cup to a cup here, depending on how much I'm gonna need. I only have 1.5 pounds of the chicken. I'm going to add some pepper. We like pepper, but if you have little ones, don't add it. Second breading station is just going to be a couple of eggs. This is just to bind it. Guess what doesn't work? A spoon. Try that with a fork. All right. We just have a couple of eggs. I'm just going to beat them. Third one, I'm going to add a combination of things. I'm going to add, that's probably about 1/4 cup of the Italian style breadcrumbs, probably about the same amount of my panko. And then I'm going to add some Parmesan cheese just because it tastes delicious. That's probably a couple of tablespoons. All right, let's get started in breading these chickens up. Put this first one here so you can see all three. I just have a piece of parchment paper inside of my cookie sheet. I'm not cooking it on here, I'm just preparing it on here, and because it's just easier. Okay, so you'll want to dip it in flour first, and you'll want to keep your hands separated for this because they get icky. So you want a dry hand, that's the right, and we want a wet hand, which is going to be my left. So we're going to dip that in the egg, and then in the breadcrumbs. And I'm going to push it in there because I want everything to be nice and crunchy. Okay, we're just going to continue with this assembly line. All right, I'm going to continue on. I'll show you what this looks like when I'm done. All right, this is what it looks like when it's all ready to go. All of this breading station is now garbage. We're not going to save any of it because none of it is usable after it's been contaminated with the raw chicken. All right, let me show you the next step. All right, I've got my 2 racks down from the air fryer. I'm going to go ahead and spray them with a little bit of cooking spray. Doesn't matter what kind you have here. If you don't have any, don't bother. It's just fine. We're going to go ahead and layer these. I have one of the bigger air fryers, so I can use 2 sheets and just rotate the trays halfway through, and they all cook evenly. So I'm gonna put these on the trays so none of them are touching, and I'm gonna spritz them a little bit with this butter spray, and I'm gonna put them in the air fryer at 380 for 15 to 20 minutes, depending on the air fryer. I'll show you what it looks like halfway through. All right, this is what my air fryer looks like. I have just the instant air fryer, and it has where you can put 2 trays. I figured I'd show you this. Well, I'm gonna put the smaller one on the bottom. All right, 380. I'm going to check it halfway through. I have it set for 15 minutes. I'll show you what it looks like halfway through. All right, so while we are waiting for our chicken tenders, I'm going to make some honey mustard. I've probably got about 1/4 of a cup of just regular yellow mustard. And I'm going to add a couple of tablespoons. I'm just going to go with 2 tablespoons first of just some honey. You can make this as sweet or as tangy as you like. If you want the hot honey mustard, you just add a little hot sauce here. So let's go ahead and give this a try. Definitely need some more honey. So I'm adding another, about a teaspoon there. All right, that's perfect. All right, the timer just went off, so let's stop it. Let me grab an oven mitt. Excuse the dirty dishes in my sink. All right, I want to flip these. Wow, these are getting crisp and beautiful. They're almost ready. Listen to that. Crunch, crunch. All right, I'm gonna rotate these trays. I'll put this one on the lower rack, this one on the top. I'm gonna let it go for 5 more minutes and then I'm gonna check it. All right, friends, this is what it looks like when it's all done. Don't those look delicious? All right, friends, I hope you enjoyed watching this episode. This is a quick, easy meal and kid-friendly. The only part that takes the longest is rising the pizza dough, but you can use canned biscuit dough here. It's always a good improvise, and you don't have to make your own sauces. All right, let's give this a try. I'm gonna use some honey mustard on this one. Oh my gosh, that is so good. And look at the cheesy goodness. So if you have a picky eater, get them to try this. Amazing. All right, guys, thanks for stopping by here today. I hope you enjoyed watching this episode. And again, if you have not yet, please subscribe. Definitely hit the like button. And we will see you here on the next one. Thanks for coming around today.